Okay, what is up, guys? Greedy Night here with the live stream for today. It'll just be a few casual hunts. Right now, there isn't really much to talk about for Monster Hunter until the actual Title 4 update comes out or more news comes out about it. There have been a few announcements, but I might cover that in a live stream in a future part of the month. But basically, yeah. So right now I've broken the 200 anomaly research level. It took a good like 50 something hours to do, and I'm just cleaning up my extra quests. So basically, like for here, I just have the seething basil geese quest, and as per usual, I always need to finish off these quests. So those will be another time. I honestly don't want to tackle them yet because I'm still just grabbing some stuff. Primarily just the risen materials. So these guys, I'll be farming those eventually. I'm not sure if I'll live stream that, but you know. Yeah, so I did some crunching, and for the risen equipment, I guess, since they don't have any weapons, you could get all of the risen materials just by farming them 14 times. So like you get your 4 decorations by using the risen gems for each of them. So that's 12 hunts of all 3, and then you would just tack on 15 more hunts to get all the armor. Now if you want the layers, it's a similar story. So that would total your risen hunt count to be 42. So then yeah, like, not gonna lie, risen kushala has some really cool gear, so I'll at least farm that, and then everything else is kind of just optional because I'm not too crazy about Chameleos or Teostra. Like, the flowing mane is cool and all, but it's not really fitting for my character here. But yeah. And then one last thing. So I finally got the blood right decoration. So I just treat it like burst. Just slap one piece and I'm done. So basically what it does is that whenever you start breaking parts mid to late hunt, you just start to become unkillable because you're just hitting broken parts all the time. And with super spam and CSS chopping, you're just gonna be targeting those spots anyways. And then there's one thing, so I did grab a few of these, like Adrenaline Rush, 2 points of that. Backstab, similar story for Gunlance. And then Element Exploit was the one decoration that I had trouble farming with. But basically, this is just artillery expert or artillery for element file because it just gives a 15% bonus, which is very spookily similar to artillery's like, what was it, 30 or 40 boost. So it's basically the same in terms of builds now. And then the only thing I have to farm right now for decorations is probably the coalitions builds or coalitions decorations. So I haven't fought Kusha or not Kushala Camelio since Title Update 2 dropped. So that'll be fun. But basically, this is just a more efficient point distribution. And then yeah, after that I'll be more or less done with everything. I'll grab this right here. So I'm not a gunner, but it's just nice to have everything just in case I ever want to branch out. So I do need some Violet Mitsutsume fin, so I'll do that eventually. I'm not sure if I'll wait until the 4th update to do that because it's most likely gonna just rank up all the Title Update 2 monsters into afflicted status, but you know, we'll see. But yeah. So one thing I'm currently doing, so this is my current build. It's not the meta build. I kind of don't like playing with life drain whenever I'm just doing casual hunt, so I just slap this together. Basically, I really like Kushala's helm, or Risen Kushala's helm, because of Wirebug Whisperer 3 plus Wind Mantle. Uh, with Spinning Axe specifically, it just makes it so that you always have ready stance available. With super spam, it's just a nice quality of life thing, just to make sure you never like cart from not having wire bugs, or always ensure that you could have counter peak performance available. So it's just a security measure, and it has good slots. And I'm tempted to argue that for non-meta super spam, you can just cut the Gormag or the Magala pieces, because it only adds like what, 46 damage in total on your supers for the coalition's boost. But with and that's at a threshold of 20. If you're at 30, it goes up to like 67. So if you don't like life drain at all, you could just straight up cut it, and then you don't really miss out too much, because you're already doing like 200 to 400 per file anyways. Missing out on like that, what, 50 and some change damage isn't gonna do much anyways. So it's not gonna end the hunt particularly faster, but if you're trying to time attack, of course it does matter. But yeah, in this case, if you're just casually hunting, you can just cut it to essentially maximize your survivability. So here, I'll just showcase this particular build. It has recovery up because of Kushala's pieces. And then I slapped on 3 levels of Kushala's Blessing, 4 for the heat negation. I don't know. I have a lot of level 1 slots. But basically, you auto regen, you can, and then it's shown here that I have Chaos Greaves, but that's so that I could use Berserk also. But basically, you just heal back up to full whenever Bloodlust isn't active. So that's pretty good. And then, yeah. And then I've been labbing Burst at 3 for a while now, so it's just like it always applies on the first hit, like the initial 5% boost, but the secondary boost of like after 5 hits, you don't, or you gain the extra element and attack. It only pops on like 2 or 3 of the files. Meanwhile, for Spinning Axe, you can just maintain that 5 hits with a single chop and then just keep comboing, and then it's just always good. So what I suggest moving forward here is that for super spam, you can get away with 1 level of burst, but for Spinning Axe, 3 levels are mandatory, because it's just free extra damage, because you're already meeting the 5 hit requirement. So that's just my 2 cents there. And then another thing, while testing specifically, let's swap to this one. So while testing specifically this really jank vampire build, or as I'm calling it, like the best Spinning Axe build. So basically it just maxes out everything. So basically what happens here is that you have naturally good affinity. So you have 80 affinity when you're slashing a weak spot, 35 when not, and then you have all the damage in the world. So one thing I noticed is that rapid morph and load shells are actually really good on Spinning Axe, because like it makes your morph like if you tank a hit with ready stance and then get knocked into sword mode, you could just immediately pop back into a really quick CSS chop. Whereas load shells is kind of just there to cut down on your time in sword mode, sword and shield mode. So basically, as soon as you hit yellow, you use your usual bread and butter combo, and then you're like, boop, back in. And then another thing I noticed is that Intrepid Heart at 2 levels, it fills up after like 3 or 4 chops, which is 3 pops of like ready stance. And then it also protects your what is it? It also protects your powder mantle from being detonated because you have to be knocked back in order for the powder mantle explosion to pop. So you basically get a get out of jail free card, and then you reposition so that you could wait until your powder turns blue to just get a free 500 damage pop. So this is a really fun and really efficient build actually. So I'm honestly astounded at how well it works. But yeah. So my 2 cents here is that, yeah, and then lastly, the part or the blood right thing is kind of just tacked in there because it's just a good skill to have just in case. But the original concept for this build was to max out on blood right and max out on part breaking, but then how much value does that really give you? It's just better to just max out on damage and then tack on the life steal after the fact. So that's just my 2 cents. But yeah. So I'm gonna just boot in online. I'm using my other capture card. This is the one I used to use when I was doing time attack still. I'm not sure if I really want to post other time attacks. Like when I feel like it, I'll do it. But basically, I don't really enjoy time attacking because it's not really fun for me. Because you have to you have that pressure to do everything perfectly and all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It do happen sometimes. If I was a second earlier, I would have made it. I would have sneaked in, and then as soon as they killed the monster, I got the rewards. But I guess that's or it is fair that I didn't get to join in at the last second because I didn't do anything, so I shouldn't get any rewards. But I just honestly feel bad whenever that happens, whenever I'm queuing in and then like, oh, you got these rewards for doing nothing. And I can do stuff, or I can hunt, but then the system's like, ha, lol. You get to leech without actually intending to leech. So, yeah. Gonna swap sets here because I like swapping sets to optimal builds. So here, I know Basil Geese off the top of my head is just weak to Thunder, so I'm swapping to the Super Spam build. For this particular hunt, I already mentioned it in one of my videos, but basically hit the glowing parts. It's not really rocket science, but specifically for afflicted hunts, you have to just know everything off the top of your head to save time. So the head and tail are big enough to justify using super spam here. But yeah. So I'm gonna beeline it because I see my teammates getting some good licks in. Yeah, I think that counter peek is particularly bad against Basil Geese for this particular reason. Just, oh, as soon as you got a counter peek, you're already taking damage. And then that Kushala blessing is coming in clutch. So I'm liking this new setup. I still need to get a bit used to it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to manipulate that single explosion like that, but it is possible. Thank you, Basil Geese. Oh, that knocked me out just in time. That's good. That's good. Just stay alive. That's all you gotta do. Whenever it does that roar like that, that's just a free hit. Yeah. Afflicted hunts have made me realize that time attacking is not fun. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna focus on staying alive and go from there. Because the other part of multiplayer hunts is that the AI likes to target one of you. So you don't know if you're gonna be the target, so it's just harder to predict and manipulate them. It just becomes a bit more sporadic. But it's also more fun because there's a lot more shenanigans that can go wrong in hunts. So yep, stay down here. Yeah, for any of the Basil Geese, always just like turn one corner and then run away to the other. And then just stay down whenever you are get knocked down. When they go down, you axe hopper. Haha. There are points in the fight where you do knock out the head, but then the tail is still glowing. So you basically just always go for the head unless the tail is glowing and all that good stuff. So basically, yeah. Oh, that para is huge. I think that's either from my dog or from one of the other guys. Wait. Oh. I was like, what happened there? Okay, that makes more sense. Sheath guard point, coming clutch. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't like these quests sometimes where it's like, oh, here's a better version of the current monster you're hunting. So here, whenever there's a Weaving Ride, oh. Yeah, normally whenever there's a Weaving Ride, it's safe to resharpen. And that's why I like multiplayer hunts, because you get to just maintain your stuff because there's enough going on. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, notice how I'm slowly regenerating health from the blood right. Yeah, if they ever come up with another skill like Blood, right? I want it to be at least somewhat balanced, like how it currently is. Okay, don't die here. Die, 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 die. Yeah, no. That sidestep just narrowly dodged me into the wind box instead. Yeah, even though I can heal up, it's just better to stay safe. Especially since we were on the last cart. What rank is this? 143? Yeah, that's my mistake. So I was just wanting to do like some easy hunts, I guess. So I mixed in the threshold of 1 and 200. So I ended up with a quest that went under the, what is it? The dire carapace threshold. So it's like 181 for that material. So I only got just the first level. It's not terrible, but I also like to hunt efficiently, I guess. So here I only got the dire afflicted carapace. The purple ones pop up at 181. But one thing I noticed is that with these post 120 quests, you start getting royal amber essences. You get like 10 a quest. It's really good. Here, since it's under the 161 threshold, you get like 4. But once you climb further, you get these like in stacks of 10. And then that's a really good money farm there. So what I did, I had like 1,000 of these and I sold all of them. I got like 7 million. It was like, yay, money. So if you just want a passive way to farm money, I would suggest to just sell those off, because it's just like once you get your optimized augments, like here I'll just show you mine. These aren't like optimized for specifically super spam, but they're just optimized for generic damage. So basically here, what is this? Oh yeah. So basically these just have the best possible slots or skills. So I'll showcase one of my other sets. So here, the weakness exploit does matter because it's spinning axe guard up. That's always good. And then burst, that's good as well. And then guard, save that. So you basically save 2 points right here. And then lastly, you get the extra level 2 slot and level 1 slot. So it's just like, once you get your sets maxed out, you really don't need any essences. And even if you wanted to swap to other weapons, you could just recycle. That's just the logical thing, right? You don't need perfect augments. But since I primarily play Charge Blade, most of my augments will be geared towards Charge Blade. So the guard won't be applicable to everyone, but it's applicable to my weapon. But things like weakness exploit, stuff like that, if you aim for those augments or your weapons or augments for specifically your weapon, then you should be good. So always clear out these because you get a mountain of experience, or not experience, Kamara points. I don't know why they don't call it Elgato points, because we're getting them in Elgato, but you know, I'm not the maker of this game, so I'm going to just change this back up to 180. There we go. And then back into it. So basically, I'm in the phase where I'm just farming, what is it? I'm farming the Dire Mats Plus, and then after that, like, I have like a stack of 30 for like all of them. It's gonna be great. But that means if I'm gonna continue afflicted farming, I'll be going back to the 100s because I have like 5 afflicted fangs and that's it. It's not too awesome, but basically I could solo those. I might just showcase like, oh, this will be my stand-in for time attacks, but basically that's gonna be the plan there. I haven't updated these yet, so I'm gonna just refrain from using them for now. So I'm gonna stick with, with the Wraths, I kind of just stick with Spinning Axe because they're kind of annoying to fight otherwise. They have the high ground, they like spinning around, punishing any like big commitments, just like the super spam or the super amped element discharge. So I'm just gonna stick with nice repeatable chops that can be guard pointed. So whenever for Wind Mantle, it just turns your stuff green, and the first time you activate guard here, oh no, it snacked behind me. So yeah, I can add on like peak performance for like this build, but I honestly don't want to. Mainly because I don't really like constantly having to heal. So I'm gonna go for an 80 here, trying to KO it, but I know it's not gonna. Yeah, without rapid morph, that would have been way more dangerous. The rides are mandatory, in my opinion, just because it's just free damage. If it's like, if you're by yourself, it's okay to skip out on them. But basically, just getting the extra damage from the wyvern ride is, it kind of helps with the hunt, I guess. It gets a free down if anything, and that's just a window for damage. Sorry about that. I had to turn off my mic off, or I had to turn my mic off because uh, there was some noise in the background, so I just turned it off for now. Um, yeah, I might cut the stream short because with my current setup, I like how it's operating, but I noticed that there's like an overheating problem, so I might just cut it off here so that my equipment doesn't just burst into flames. So feel free to comment anything that you have questions on. Um, Basically, that's all I have for now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna post another video because I like this freeform content because it's easier now that I have a functioning setup. But basically, just treat this as like a open forum type deal where I could just answer your questions and I could talk about stuff that doesn't really need to be in a full video. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna cut it off here. Greedy night, signing out.